not happen even for companies and products in the market, that as you grow bigger, quality becomes a question now? Because with where you are right now, you have grown immensely, and with your presence in African market, we're going to expect again for you to continue growing exponentially as well.
Correct.
Is it going to be a challenge for you now to keep on churning out the quality content that your channel has been associated with, or you're going to put in structures to make sure that this doesn't change for you? And what are those structures, Phil, that you plan to put in place?
Well, we have to say quality is a big thing for me. It's a big thing. And if you can't have quality in the host, quality in the stories, what's very important for the people, then it's not going to last very long with me. I'll shut something down.
Yes.
I have the idea of the market controls everything. For instance, I could like you as a host all day long, but if the people don't like you and the people don't receive you, you're not going to stay with me very long, because it's what the people say, not what I say. And letting the people have more control on what's going on, and people having control over the stories. It's like the people are asking you questions.
Yes.
I prefer to talk to the people and engage the people, because the people's the ones going to support your platform. The people's going to spread it out there versus these corporate entities putting somebody up there saying, I don't even like that guy. What is he even talking about? No. So nothing's going to change. Quality is a big thing for me, because we are already behind the 8 ball, because they believe, oh, black people, African people, oh, their service not as high quality as the white people. That's a lie. So quality is a big thing for me. If we're not going to have quality, once again, we're just not going to do it.
Yes. Somebody asked this question. Here's the thing: there are popular languages in this African markets that you're going, because I know now your channel is essentially heavily English.
Yes.
Now, coming to the to the African market, it means that you're going to expose yourself to a larger audience that might not essentially prefer English as a mode of communication, or the mode of relaying these stories to them. Are we going to see collaborations within these markets that you're targeting, essentially the heavy markets? We're going to see native languages being the conversation points of these stories.
That's something that we've thought about and been open to. But we got to first get the bread and butter first. And then once the bread and butter, we could have a channel in Swahili. It's no issue, no problem. We could, but it's going to stay the same model. You understand? If it's something in French, we can do an African diaspora, news channel in French, but it's going to stay the same model. The model's not going to change. Languages is one thing, but the model is just, so for us, we got to build the infrastructure first. It's like that sort of thing is kind of like adding bells and whistles, but we got to get the highway built first. Then once we get the highway built first and all the lights and everything is great, then we can focus on extra things like languages and things like that. But we're definitely open to that.
Pretty much. The next question as well to you, Phil Scott. Somebody saying, it's interesting how you've made news consumable. Most people would run away from hard news, but you find a way to tell your stories in a way that I will sit and consume news. How have you been able to do that, Phil Scott? This is a direct question from one of our viewers as well.
Well, we just make sure that we just connecting with the people and it's not boring. My main way of doing news is not running off of a teleprompter. I don't know what I'm going to say before I get on there. I do my research on what the story is, yes, but I don't like to look at a teleprompter because it kind of confines me. The team who's doing the news, yes. I don't tell them even what stories to make. Because a lot of mainstream, they tell you, hey, make this story, unless it's something we really need to target, which is rare. But I believe in allowing them to have their own creativity and their own voice. So we don't script anything, and it just comes from the heart, and that's what people connect with, is that.
Yes, and that's going to be the model throughout?
Yes, I don't tell people how to think. I don't want people around me that I got to control. Like you, because you may have an idea.
Yes.
That's something I'm not even thinking. So why would I stifle your creativity is making you a robot? I don't want robots around me. I want human beings who actually think for themselves. And I tell you what story you're going to cover. I want you to tell me what story you're going to cover. I'm not going to tell you. And if you can't come up with enough stories on your own that's interesting for the people, then once again, if the market, then which is the people, not feeling what you're doing, well, we want to see how that works out. But for instance, everyone I have, they come up with their own stories. I do not tell them what to cover.
Yes, pretty much. Somebody will ask you, you're passionate about whatever it is that you're doing, and it comes from an area when you want to see change in the stories that you tell. Have you been able to track change in some of the bigger stories that you've covered on the channel?
Sure, sure. I've had people, tell me they have, went to college because of some things we're saying. I've had some people say they came to the African continent. Some people have gotten involved in like healthcare. Some people have gotten government contracts. Some people have gotten married because they've heard, this with the importance of family. I've had a lot of definitely African people saying, they feel great to hear someone standing up because there's a great need here for people to have a voice and to be bold in what they're saying.
Yes.
And I love that. I had a journalism student out of 50 came right to me and started questioning me about things and even saying, hey, when I'm done, could I get a job? I said, see, I like people like you. I don't like people standing behind just kind of quiet and smiling. No, we need people that's aggressive, bold, because everything that's coming against us is aggressive and bold. So either it's one of those things, either you get down in the fight or you're going to lay down. And we can, and black people globally sometimes been laying down too much for me.
Yes.
And in Black America, we had to fight. We're still fighting today. We didn't have a chance to lay down. Everything we have achieved has been because we have fought one of the greatest systems of white supremacy out there, and we're still fighting now. So we got they have to be spread everywhere, and that's how we look at it.
With the growth model that you're adopting now, let's go into the African market and trying to spread our wings around that area. It's not going to be essentially running on the financing model that you have right now. Let's do a lot of stories, I know. And then the channel that we're running the stories on is gonna commercialize the stories, and then we're gonna get paid at the end of the day. Are we going to see strategic collaborations now from your channel, from, let's say, like-minded organizations and people who are like what you're doing to help you further penetrate the African market to the level that you may wish, Phil Scott?
Well, anybody that's going to partner with us, they got to understand our vision. I'm not changing what we're doing for any kind of funding, because I've had people reach out to me many times for funding. Well, if you don't do this, or maybe you're just a little too black, sorry, stay over there. I don't want you. I'd rather stick to what we have now because it works. Because what I've seen by not taking certain funding or turning certain people away, we have grown by 10 times by not doing that. So anybody that's going to partner with us, understand what you see is what you get. We're not changing for anything.
Not at all. But I'm going to get back on that funding question, because if we're going to talk about the sporadic growth and you being able to touch the stories that are really pertinent to the African continent, funding will be funding, as they say. But then you're still going to get the money and do the stories that you want to do. Do you think you're still going to keep on saying no to these people approaching you for this particular funding to help? It's going to be a collaboration, Phil. Would you know?
Well, the collaboration is this. You being put on a platform where people are seeing it. And then they could buy your product. So that's a win-win. Any kind of advertising is a gamble. You can put up a billboard, don't mean people going to buy your product. But if you want to be put on a platform where the young people are at, where people are really having conversations, then you come on over here to African Diaspora News Channel. That's just really what it is. We're not going to change for anything. Period.
So conform first before you approach us. Know what we do before you approach us. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just my motto is this. The platform is the platform. It works very well. If you want to get in with us and you want to advertise and reach these young people, because we have a lot of Gen Xers, we have a lot of millennials, we have a lot of Gen Zs. That's our target audience. If you want those people to look at your goods and services, then come over here with us. And the people will say, okay, it don't matter even what community you come from. They will see, especially if you're outside the black community, okay, this particular company actually okay with partnering with a news organization that's about black empowerment. I respect that. I'm actually going to buy that. Because we see that they want to be out there for the right thing. Because you have all these corporations say, oh, we for the right thing, and oh, we want to see about diversity and equality. But when it comes to money, you're not really talking about diversity and equality unless they can control you. And of course, we're not going to say nothing reckless and illegal, unlawful. We're going to follow all the laws of the land, no matter where we come from. We're not going to do that. We're not reckless. Even in America, we're not reckless. We know what we can say and what we can't say. We understand that. Trust me, we understand it. But what we do works. And if you're a company that wants to partner with us, we're definitely open and welcome.
Your growth has been exponential. I mean, when we look at the numbers, Phil, they're unimaginable, and they keep on growing by the day. Did you see yourself morphing or growing into something bigger than just a news channel where you're saying, well, our stories are focused. They're focused on the black story. They're focused on the African story. What can we do for impact? Because with growth then comes the question of, is that it? Do you see yourself 5 years from now, maybe growing into something different? Because you're very passionate then about this African story, about this impact, telling the story the way it is.
Well, if I'm thinking I know what you're saying, I would say this much. We have to corner the market on just black people throughout the world.
Yes.
Nobody has really done that. And how I look at it, we are the culture. You know, sometimes people ask, well, you're going to cross over to doing this and cross over to doing that. That's another question. And I always say to that, no, I'm not crossing over for anything. It's a lot of people throughout the world as black people. We don't even know who they are, exist. We don't know the cultures. We don't know the languages. We don't know the stories. We need to focus on us because Europeans focus on themselves. Yeah, sure, they talk about other people, but they focus on themselves. And I have no problem, let's say down the line, if somebody come in, if they say they're an Indian person, if they're Asian person, if they are whoever, group, and they come in and they say, hey, we want to work, with you. Okay, that's fine. I'm not discriminatory, but this is the job. This is what we talk about. And if you're fine with it, hey, no problem.
Yes.
So that model, no, it's not going to change no time soon.
So you're going to stick to the same African news, the African story, and that will be that, isn't it? So let me get to know, because I know you live in Kenya on the 2nd of December. That's a couple of days within the country. You're walking around and talking to different people and really trying to see what the scope is in terms of the stories that you may want to focus on from the country. Other than that, what do you expect to get out of this country now before 2nd of December?
Well, it's not about what I expect to get out. It's about what I can give back. I'm not coming here to be a colonizer. That's not what I do.
Yes.
I come like, what can I give back? What could I learn from the people that I could bring back, to America and say, hey, this is what our brothers and sisters dealing with. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to contribute. This is how we need to work together. It's not about me taking anything. I think too many have taken enough.
Yes.
What can we do to give back? And one thing I always say, especially to black Americans, if you come back, create a business and hire the locals. That's one of the best ways you can give back because of jobs, unemployment, et cetera.
Yes.
And make friends with people. It's all about, for me, giving back. It's not about taking.
Pretty much. Now, last question is a direct question as well. Can you ask Phil Scott how I can get to work with them directly since he's in Kenya?
Interesting. Okay, so we have many different programs for that,
Yes.
and we also, I was just thinking about coming back eventually and doing even a job fair to bring people in who are serious about our growth here.
Yeah.
But we do have like a contributor program that anybody can contribute. Of course, you just have to be ready, though. I mean, we can't just accept any old kind of video, any old kind of situation. The sound got to be right, et cetera.
Yes.
But we do have a contributor program. If they would like to, find out about that, they can email, our business manager at Kellen@ColemanPRFirm.com. Email him, and he will, guide you through that process. We are open to anybody, and contributors are paid. We have a model where we pay them. So no one does anything on our platform for free. I won't allow it. I think if someone does the work, you should pay them something, right? So yeah, that's just, if they want to get involved, they can do it that way. And contributors can eventually come to full-time hosts just based on how they perform.
Pretty much. Phil Scott, you have 15 seconds to respond to this question. Could you talk to me about your channel then? In the next 10 years, what do you envision?
Channel-wise, that's a good question. I'm thinking bigger than a channel. I'm thinking more so, our website being, way bigger than, what it is now. We want to focus on our website and also our different divisions. And we're going to open, like, for instance, our Kenyan division, growing that, and then open up other divisions in other African countries.
Yes.
Setting some up out in the Caribbean, Latin America. We're just thinking about just getting different divisions everywhere because we want everybody to tell their story, right? And everybody to participate. Like the question was asked earlier, for instance, if someone say, well, hey, I haven't seen an Islamic person on yet. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a host like that, to come eventually. So we're looking to get everybody involved. And I probably eventually will start falling back myself because if I can get 10 people or 20 people that talk like me, I'll just sit back and let you do it. I'm happy with that.
Fantastic, Phil Scott. Thank you very much for creating time, man, to come to Look Up TV.
But thank you.
Fantastic. Now, if you want to learn more about that particular channel, of course you do know already about it, and that's why you were really talking to us this morning before he walked in. You don't know what to do. Rush there right now. Africa Diaspora News channel. Once you're there, You'll even know exactly where the website is and you want to work with them. He said there's a process to follow. And then the thing about that is they created a market for news that was essentially considered to be